Hi, everyone. It's Bonita from Pennies to Dollars, and we just returned from a 4-day, 4-night trip to Vegas. I'm early retired. My husband is still working. We keep our money separate, and I've been retired going on 3 years. It will be 3 years in October. So join me and follow along as I share with you some of the ways that we save money on these trips. And this is my second trip of the year. The first one was through 5 states, 5 national parks in my car solo. I hope you'll stick around for some great tips and some great views of Vegas. Happy Saturday, everyone. I wanted to share with you our last Frugal trip that we just took. We took a red-eye flight late Sunday night and was gone Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and came back late Thursday night. And we saved money by doing this on the flight. And then I got a great deal because we stayed Monday through Thursday in Vegas. It was the cheapest nights of the week to stay. I got a special deal where most of the nights was $19 and something, and the fourth night I think was $26. Of course, everything has those hidden resort fees that you have to be so careful about. And our resort fee was about $199. And then we decided to pay for late checkout. I've never done this before. Our flight didn't leave until about 5:30, and we were supposed to be checked out by 11. It's just too difficult to try to drag our luggage around. I have difficulty with that because I have back problems. That would make my husband dragging both bags. And because of that, we decided to pay the extra $50 and check out at 3 o'clock, which made it perfect for us to catch a ride to the airport. So those 4 nights, even with the late checkout, was about $302. I thought that was a really great deal in Vegas. We stayed at the Flamingo. I've stayed there many times in my life for business meetings and such, and they have live flamingos outside with palm trees and fountains and a nice little walking path that is just so peaceful. We really enjoy that, and that is part of their resort, so it is just free. They also have a swimming pool area. We did go one day, but it was so crowded because they are now selling all of these cabanas that they sit in the water, and it was so full of cabanas that you could hardly get in the actual water. My husband and I had already decided before we left that this would be our last trip to Vegas. We're not big Vegas people. He's only been 2 times, the 2 times that he has went with me. I've been there several times because of business meetings. I used to have a boss that always chose Vegas for us to have business meetings. So I've been there many times, but it requires a lot of walking. I was having to stop about every 20 steps due to back pain. I'm still hurting today. And so we had to take it really, really slow. And it was really difficult for me to get around. They do have escalators and they do have fences now that keep you on the sidewalk. You cannot cross at every intersection. They have bridges across the intersections, and you have to go down, ride the escalator to get to the bridge, to go across, to maybe go back on the other side. That was so difficult. It was 103 degrees for 2 of the days that we were there, and it was 94 degrees the other 2 days. So a lot of the escalators were broken down. It was just really difficult walking. So you do need to know that if you are planning on going. I did have my cane. We did get offered when we checked in for a room with a view. They said, "Do you want to upgrade for a room with a view?" Well, we hadn't even seen our room yet. And when they offer that to you, you're excited, you're going in there, you're ready for this vacation, and you're more likely to say, "Yes, I want a room with a view." But we said, "No, we're not going to be in our room much." And then we got up to our room and it looked like this. We could see the pink flamingo fountain. We could see some of the pools, the palm trees, a Ferris wheel. It was absolutely gorgeous. So no upgrade was needed. But sometimes they try to trick you into thinking that you need one. For this price, we didn't get to choose our room, and so we had a room with 2 double beds, but that was fine with us. It didn't matter for that price, and we had a small mini fridge. Most of the rooms nowadays do not come with a coffee pot. They don't come with a microwave. I think those days are over, which is really sad because then you can bring home your leftovers to your hotel room and reheat them up. And I think they want you to buy food, so they don't offer those things. But we were really pleased with the room. It was really, really clean. So for a $300 stay for 4 nights, we thought that we did pretty well with that motel. The main event of the trip and the reason that we chose Vegas is they were showing The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere in 3D. It was stupendous. It was like they took you inside of the actual tornado. The colors were vibrant. It was so gorgeous, and you could just sit back and feel like your seats were moving, but they weren't. It was so great. My husband and I loved it. People were dressed up as Dorothy and they were dressed up as the witch. It was a lot of fun. One of the casinos even had poppies everywhere, and they had life-size figurines of the Wizard of Oz. We bought the tickets last September when they were $118 each, and by November, they were up to $140 each. So we were really happy that we were able to get them at the lower price, and it was so worth it. We rode the monorail while we were in Vegas, which is a great way to take you up and down the strip. It has stops along the way so that you don't do as much walking, and you get to see a lot of things that you wouldn't normally be able to see because there is just too much walking. One of the things that I wanted to see one more time was some of the architecture that is in Vegas. That is also one of my husband's favorites. So we got to see the Eiffel Tower. We went into Caesar's Forum malls, and we got to see the mythical gods statues. That's always a favorite. And then we just sat down and people watched for a while for me to get a break. And they have some high-end shops there that are nothing like I've ever experienced. And it was really interesting to people watch. There are those types of shops that maybe have a purse and then a little bit farther, another purse, and they don't have like racks and racks of things. And then when you go in, they pull a little strip across the doorway and keep anyone else from coming in. They want a personal shopping experience, and I guess that also keeps people from just wandering in, looking, touching their items, possibly shoplifting these items that are thousands of dollars. We saw some people going in to shop, and we saw the door person close the little strap and stand there to prevent anyone else from coming in. It's a life that I can't even imagine living. It just seems so strange for me to think that I would shop that way, but it was really interesting to watch others that did shop that way. We had some really good food while we were there. My husband was really excited because there are some gluten-free options for him that we don't have where we live in Kansas. We went along the Link Promenade area and sat and people watched there. They had a restaurant called Flour and Barley, which are both gluten items, but they had gluten-free deep dish pizza as well as gluten-free garlic breadsticks, gluten-free pasta. So my husband had his first deep dish pizza that he has had in many, many years. And then a bonus, of course, is I take all of the receipts, I take pictures of them, and I use them for cash back. I used my Discover card the whole time for the restaurants because it's 5% cash back this period. And I also used my Capital One for 1.5% back on everything else that we purchased. But when I got home and uploaded the receipts for the flour and barley restaurant, it was on Fetch for bonus points, and I got a bonus of 6,959 points for eating there. That was really exciting. We also ate at Gordon Ramsay's Burgers. Now, I'm not a fan. We don't have cable TV. I don't watch any of those things, but I have a couple of kids that do watch him. And my husband got to pick everywhere we ate this time since there was so many gluten-free options. I always let him choose where we're going to eat, and we ate there, and it was really a good experience. Some of the highlights on this trip is I found the David Cassidy Vegas star on the sidewalk. I'm a big fan of him, and so that was really exciting to actually see his star. And another one of them was the many varying vending machines that was out there. We saw a mystery box vending machine, which I can't imagine ever putting my money in there and just seeing what the heck I get. There was also emergency footwear vending machine, and there was a pizza by the slice vending machine. Food was extremely expensive out there, as you can imagine. And we did have, savings when it came to everything except the food. So we knew food was going to be expensive, and we had already accepted that. But we wanted to have some drinks while we were there. Drinks started at $23 each. Well, I had researched where we could get some more affordable drinks while we were out there, and one of the places we went was the Fuel Bar. And the Fuel Bar had buy one get one coupons that they just handed out on the corner. I already knew they were legit because I had researched them, and we were able to get 2 for 1, and we were able to pay less than $10 a drink while we were out there for a large 12-ounce drinks. Now, the exciting part about this is everything in Vegas is about showmanship. The bartenders were really fun. They juggled, they did all kinds of things while they were making your drinks to make it really entertaining. There are so many things to see and do in Vegas. Not everything costs money, but just people watching and seeing some of the things that are already there with the architecture is really a good experience, and those things are free. We packed empty water bottles because we knew they wouldn't let you take drinks in most places. We went through security with an empty water bottle. We filled it up. Once we passed security, then we had a drink for the flight, and we also had a water bottle that we could keep refilling as we were walking outside in that heat, and then we could refill it. The Sphere doesn't let you bring in drinks, but they let you bring in empty water bottles, and you can fill them up once you get inside. Just taking those empty water bottles saved us so much money on this trip, and I was so glad that I had researched that ahead of time and knew to take those. So a lot of these things we can do if we research ahead of time and we know what the rules are so we can play by the rules. It helps us save money so that we can do some of these things. Not everything we do is going to be frugal, but if we can try to capitalize on the things that we can do that are frugal, then we know we're going to be spending extra on some things that we just can't capitalize on, and that's okay, but that makes the trips affordable. I splurge more when my husband and I are together. That's when we spend our savings that we've saved up for our vacations. And then when I travel alone, I'm way, way frugal because I'm saving up to go the next time when I'm probably going to go solo. So that's how I afford to travel in retirement, is when I travel solo, I'm even more frugal. And then when we're together, we do as many frugal things as we possibly can. And then the other things that we can't, we just can't. But we still try to be smart about our purchasing decisions. I hope you've enjoyed this video and this little sneak peek into what Vegas is like if you choose to ever go there. And I hope that this has given you some tips on maybe how you can travel and save some money when you do it. Thanks for watching today. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.